Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! Okay, so my service dog of 5 years recently passed away due to cancer on the 3rd of this year, and I remembered this story. I'm 14 and this story took place when I was 13. So I was in a GameStop at the mall that I went to weekly because I had ice skating classes and I had my service dog with me. She was a psychiatric service dog trained to avoid anxiety attacks that can lead to harm to myself and others and to alert me to when I might pass out. She didn't have a vest because it interfered with her work and my disability, and by ADA law she doesn't need one in that case. But she did have a leash that read anxiety service dog, do not pet. And I was looking around and I also just wanted to pop in and say hi to an employee, the GameStop lady, that I was pretty chill with. I was looking at a game for my Switch, I think Minecraft, and my dog was behind me for a task. Basically to make more space for me to avoid an episode, since people being down my neck is a huge trigger for me. And I hear this lady, "Oh, cute puppy," and she picks up my working service dog. "Oh, can you please not pick her up? She's working and she has to stay focused." I was cut off by Karen, who was still holding my dog. "It doesn't have a vest. It's fine." "Excuse me, by law she doesn't need one if she's..." I was cut off again, but this time I could feel like I was about to have a really bad episode. I felt like I was going to faint as my dog struggled to get to me and out of Karen's grasp. Then a GameStop lady came to my rescue. She says, "Ma'am, please let go of Dee Dee. She's a working dog and what you're doing is illegal by distracting a working service dog." She knows me and my dog by name because we are pretty okay friends. "No, this is my daughter's therapy dog." Who's her daughter? I don't know. She was there alone, no kids. Next thing I know, I was falling down and it went black for me. And this next part was told by the employee. She said that after I went out, Karen dropped my dog on her face. My dog was a small Chihuahua and a Dachshund mix, and Karen was around 6 foot to 6'3". They said my dog just got up and rushed over to me and started tasking by licking my face and laying on my stomach to try to wake me up. But I didn't wake up for a while because it turns out I hit my head on a glass display case and the GameStop lady called 911 since I wasn't getting up. I woke up to mall security and cops around me as one cop was cuffing Karen. Later I found out that she was getting arrested for assault, animal cruelty, attempted robbery, distracting a service dog or something like that, and attempted murder. But my dog ended up being okay, and I ended up being okay at the end. I don't know very much on illegal stuff, I just didn't even want to bother with it. We just didn't have the time or money to really do anything about it. Please do not distract working service dogs. The handler of that dog is depending on that dog to do its job to keep them safe or alive. When you distract a service dog, it cannot do its job and is putting both the dog and handler at risk of injury or death. Please know that these aren't just dogs. They are medical equipment and are here not for your entertainment. They are here to do their jobs and be very cute and very good puppers while doing it. So in July of last year, I was able to find a buyer for my old car. It had more or less been passed down the family. My grandma buying it in 1992, and overall we taking good care of it. But I got my own vehicle and the 92 needed new brakes and other issues that I didn't want to spend the money on, so I have been trying to sell it for $1,000. Now my buyer is on disability payments that he only gets once a month and in his late 50s, so he asked if he could do it on payments of $400 in August and then $300 in September and October. I figured I didn't need the money so much as it would be nice to use it towards my own car payment/insurance, so I agreed and wrote up a bill of sale. For simplicity, we will call him the dumb neighbor. In September, I waited a few days past what the neighbor had said his pay date was before asking for my money. because I hadn't come to him the day of. However, he'd already spent it on groceries. I got the neighbor's number after that, and in October was able to get $200. It was December before he got it fully paid off. Now I have done one smart thing in this. I'd kept the title to the car and didn't sign it over until I had all of my money. And I figured I was done with him now as long as I ducked away as fast as possible. I got one call, however, in March requesting a copy of the POS, only stating that he paid $500 instead of $1,000. Refused, as I'd already reported it as income, but he wanted it so he wouldn't have to pay as much in taxes to get the initial tags. Fast forward to this Wednesday, I got a voicemail from the neighbor saying that they weren't letting him license the car because the dates on the bill of sale and the title didn't match. I'd never exactly sold a car before, so I hadn't considered that. But yes, he had waited until August to actually get plates for the car that had been titled over to him since December. Apparently, he's facing potential jail time if he didn't get it done. At this point, I have considered this not my problem anymore. But I figured I'd be nice even though it would mean staying up after my 12-hour shift until the courthouse opened. I wasn't exactly happy since I had to be back to sleep at some point, but the neighbors showed up thankfully and was pretty much ranting while we waited for the office to open. How it's my fault and that I needed to get a new title for him so it would all be done right. Now we get in there and the ladies at the desk explain that either the title or bill of sale needs to be done that would have the same date on it, so everything's hunky-dory. The neighbor is still insisting that we need a new title, partly as I see because he's put his address down as in another county that wouldn't have charged as much for the taxes. The ladies keep trying to explain, however, that we could just do another bill of sale and it will be fine. So the date has to match the bill of sale, July 2018, or the title, December 2018. Even have exhausted, and after all the headaches he put me through, I just waved him off and said I'll pay the $15 for another title versus just doing another new bill of sale that would have been free. The neighbor didn't think about the fact that he'd have to pay for a full year's worth of licensing plus his coverage of 2019 to 2020 on top of the taxes. Hopefully they asked for the money before he spent it all on groceries. Another restaurant story from a few years ago. I cook or wait tables depending on how long it takes me to get fed up with one or the other, and I need a change. We always have to be very conscious of allergies in food service, as it can be life or death for some people, or shellfish allergies, nut allergies, celiacs, and so on. Enter the gluten-free trend crowd. While I recognize some people have a legit allergy, there are so many that are trying to be trendy. The big difference is that a person with a true allergy has an already general idea of what they can and cannot have and will start the whole process off before ordering by letting you know what said allergy is, which we appreciate as it saves time. No big deal. The trendy gluten-free peeps need to tell you 3 times throughout their order, and then always end up backtracking after they found out that basically everything they desire to order either contains gluten or is potentially cross-contaminated. I was waiting this time around and I started getting tired of hearing about it. We had a particular almost daily regular who would tell us every time about her gluten intolerance, tell all the people sitting near her about it, then proceed to order items that had gluten. I was having a bad day and she comes in, does her normal speech about being allergic to gluten, and I say yup. Wasn't sufficient enough attention for her. She emphasizes what it does to her delicate system because she's allergic. She orders the usual food cooked and prepared in the fryers, which have had gluten-ridden food fried in them all day. I am thoroughly annoyed now having to listen to her graphic details about her guts and the effects of gluten. I, as usual, inform her the fryers are cooked in with items containing gluten. She says the normal, "Oh, that's fine." I have an evil idea pop into my head. Ma'am, you just said you're allergic to gluten. I cannot in good conscience put this restaurant or my job at risk by serving you food that you will have an allergic reaction to. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to pick another item. She's shocked. Starts backtracking, but I stand firm. No, I'm sorry, but I can't just do that. If you get sick from the food because I was careless about your allergy, then I could lose my job. These are the items you can choose from today. Calls the manager over. Manager backs me up after hearing the story. The manager was tired of her too. The lady indignantly orders one of the items I listed to save face. Obviously no tip, but I don't care. It was worth it. Still came back 2 days later miraculously cured of her gluten allergy. Disclaimer: this is not my story, it's from a close friend that told me of it and gave me the go-ahead to post it here. This will be recounted from memory based on what I was told. On the day of this encounter was this shining example of Karen, hood friend, had gone shopping at a certain big box store where the employees are known to wear blue shirts and generally dark colored pants, a favorite shopping place for Karens apparently. He had been shopping about roughly an hour according to what he told me when the dreaded throat clearing came from behind him. "I don't work here," he said loudly and very clearly, grabbed what he wanted off the shelf, and walked away to continue his shopping. "How rude!" she suddenly yelled at him. "Get back here! I'm a customer!" "So am I," he shouted back just as loudly at her. "Go screw yourself, you ignorant but ugly old bat. My friend takes no crap from anyone and will give back the same as he's given if you're rude to him." From what he said, she stood there mouse agape, as if she couldn't believe someone gave her back the same attitude she gave. About that time, 3 men in business suits entered the other end of the aisle, attracted by the shouting who were there shopping themselves. Karen spots them and beelines for them and starts immediately with the crocodile tears and made up some story about how she politely asked this employee for help and he insulted and threatened her for it, and walked away. Then she made that demand all Karen seemed to think they can do. "I want him fired. Now!" Cub 1 tells her, "I'm sorry, I don't work here. I can't fire him." Karen was unaware that 3 had heard the entire exchange and stepped into the aisle to investigate. "Don't lie to me. You're a manager. Fire him right now." Karen shouted at him so loudly, the men stepped back a step. "Ma'am, calm down and stop yelling. I can't fire him. I do not work here. And I'm not a—" But he didn't get a chance to finish what he was saying. Karen, being so angry and obviously not thinking, pulled out a small container of pepper spray and sprayed them full in the face. The other 2 officers reacted without hesitation. They were on Karen in a second and took her down hard and had her cuffed inside 30 minutes, or it seemed, more like a minute or 2. Then identified themselves as police officers and made it clear she was under arrest for assaulting an officer with a weapon. The pepper spray. She lay there on the floor shrieking that they were in cuffs. They were lying and demanding my friend to be arrested for daring to refuse her commands. They called for a regular cruiser to pick her up and kept her down until the uniformed officers arrived and literally had to drag her out of the store. Turns out they took her down so hard she got a tooth knocked out when she hit the floor. My friend walked back to the officers and asked if he was needed for anything, and they said no, but he left his contact information with them in case he needed a witness. He was thanked and sent back on about his business. In the end, the Karen wound up taking a plea deal that landed her 1 year and 1 day in prison, 5 years parole and 2,500 hours community service. The judge really threw the book at her within the constraints of the plea deal, and my friend got a great little story to tell. Note: the officer is fine and suffered no lasting effects from the pepper spray. Many years ago, I worked on a UK railways as a food server, taking food up and down the train offering tea and coffee. On this particular occasion, I was required to work a train from Birmingham to Edinburgh, then pass back. This means just travel back to your original destination without working or assist the team on board. As I got on board the train at the front first class section, and I was in full uniform, so you have to portray a professional image at all times. I was stopped by a passenger in first class and they asked if I was serving. I tried to explain that I'm not and your server was just setting up their section. It would be along shortly. I was heading to help the assistant in the main body of the train, the bigger section. So, the lady, she was a very well-known person traveling with another person and security staff, was sat there eating smoked salmon out of a package, stuffing it into little bread rolls. She threw a Scottish 20-pound note on the table and said, "Go get me a bag of quavers from the onboard shop." I explained their service was starting shortly and the server will provide snacks for you. To which I was told, "Just give me the quavers." Cue the malicious compliance. I politely said no problem and set off down the train dragging my carry bag and equipment with a smile plastered on my face, heading for the shop thinking, okay, I can do this. As I'm walking away from the lady, I clearly heard her say to her companion, "What a horrible man. I just want to get rid of the Scottish 20-pound note." I add, the train was returning back south of the border. Not many locations like to accept Scottish notes, even though they are perfect legal tender. Well, I thought I'm doing you a favor, and you're rude. So, as a polite member of staff, I head to the shop, purchase the crisps, and give the customers change. I then swap the staff's free UK 5-pound notes for the 3 Scottish ones I have, plus a loose change. I returned to the customer and gave them their crisps and change, to which they protested. "I wanted my change in English notes." To which my response was, "We're just leaving Scotland. What money did you expect me to have?" As I spun on my heel and walked off with a massive grin on my face. I also got the smile on her security staff's face with a look of touche. Listen to learn, never cross a trolley dolly. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.